I luckily just got a chance to spend quite a few hours in the first 3 areas of the upcoming action RPG all about strategic dismemberment and player betterment, The Surge 2. That sure sounded better in writing, oh well. Now, in this, I will be covering many of the new tweaks coming to the combat system overall, the immensely satisfying new directional parry mechanic, your customizable drone buddy, the new online elements, and a few other things that help to improve this game over the original. Let's not waste any more time in this intro and just get right to the thing you really want to know about first, the new snappier, flexible, and more precise combat system in The Surge 2. If you've never played the original The Surge, well, it introduced us to the core element that made the series stand out the most, the limb-targeted severing system. Instead of getting too lost into trying to overly explain this, let's keep it simple. You see an enemy with a certain piece of armor, or maybe a weapon you want to kindly borrow for the foreseeable future, well, all you have to do is focus that part of their body and cut it right off for yourself. Going into The Surge 2, this element seems to be doubled down on this time around, and even in just the first few introductory areas, I was able to borrow many more weapon and armor variants from enemies than I would have expected, at least directly compared to the original game, that is. Not only does it seem like there's a much larger pool of Rocket Raccoon approved prosthetics to acquire, but also we get a few new tools to use during battle, like the brand new drone. This can be deployed seamlessly during combat with a press of a button to do a large variety of things, from staggering enemies mid-combo, think Atreus' arrows in God of War, pulling enemies into perilous setups, deploying automated turrets, just flat out blowing everybody up, and also a few uses that you'll find outside of combat that may lead to new areas or special items. The drone can easily make or break a fight and seems to be a nice new addition, but you yourself also gain some improvements that prove just as useful. The new charge attacks give you a way to stall or bait enemies into range for a powerful hit, and often fundamentally change the attack style of your given weapon type. Comparing this again to the original, everything seems to have a little less ending lag in the sequel, which makes the combat system feel slightly more fluid and responsive overall. Another new feature here is the brand new parry system that requires you to directionally influence your block to pull off correctly. Blocking alone will still mitigate damage at the cost of stamina, but if you're skilled at reading oncoming attack orientations, you will be greatly rewarded by completely mitigating oncoming damage while also dealing out a huge blow of your own, assuming you nailed the correct input for this new quad-directional parry mechanic. This makes for a really satisfying new parry riposte system that creates a pretty high skill ceiling for perfectionist players, while also forcing you to actually pay attention to oncoming attack animations. This parry system, along with the drone's new implementation into combat, are my personal favorite new additions to The Surge 2 that both help to shake up the tried and true third-person action formula of attack, attack, dodge, back off, attack, attack, and dodge some more. Some new online elements have been introduced into the game's world that allow for players to leave behind personalized graffiti tags to either warn players of upcoming ambushes, show them where secrets are, or pretty much any other way you can find enjoyment from being able to lay down a sequence of 3 symbols for others. Although it seemed like many players early on had no idea how to use this feature correctly, in later areas the smarter players seemed to rise to the top somewhat, and these tags actually started to become quite useful, more so than I initially assumed. Another new online component is being able to lay down a personal banner for other players to not find, essentially encouraging and rewarding you to find the trickiest areas in the game to place them. After enough time has passed, you are briefly graded on how well your banner was hidden and rewarded with scrap accordingly, which can be used to level up yourself, buy new gear, or deposit for later use. The entire game world overall seems much more lively and involved this time around compared to the barren wasteland of the first game, and you will find plenty of characters with much to say. With some awesome loot, I might add, if you choose to slaughter them. Even just the inclusion of a main town hub filled with people makes the entire tone and atmosphere of this entry feel quite different. These changes, along with giving players more freedom to customize their own character, make The Surge 2 seem like a game that has learned and adapted appropriately with what the community has wanted, hopefully delivering us a solid and challenging action RPG to tear our way through.
You're gonna regret this.
I was left quite impressed with my time with the Surge 2. It maybe doesn't reinvent the Souls-like pinwheel, but it does make some smart changes to its overall balance and general feel. I also really want to point out how cool the weapon variety is this time around, and in just the first 3 areas, I found some pretty cool gear, like this weapon here that would leave behind some toxic fumes after certain attacks. Some great designs, and each of the 9 core weapon types feel quite a bit different from each other. I also appreciate being able to kill pretty much every NPC that I tried to, and I was even rewarded with some pretty cool drops as well. I honestly love that kind of stuff. Less talking, more gameplay, win-win in my books. This was just a preview build of the game, and all of what you see here is subject to change before launch, but hopefully this gave you a little better idea of what to expect from the game come September. Now, if you happen to enjoy the more neutral and raw coverage of gaming I do here, consider subscribing to the channel, following me on Twitter at BoomstickAlex, and also, if you have a moment, check out the perks I provide through my brand new tiered support system in YouTube that allows me to give more back to you. These top supporters have been a great asset to Boomstick Gaming and helped me to make improvements to the channel over the years, like increased production values, 1440p 60fps videos for example, improved audio quality, and many other things that benefit all of you who have watched my more recent videos. As always, this has been Alex, and I appreciate you watching this all the way to the end. Thank you.